Good evening, everyone. I am glad to see you here. Let's just talk with Kim. And you know I'm Kim. And as always, every Monday night I go live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time just to have some chit chat with some friends on specific topics. And we just having a natural flowing conversation. Listen, let me tell you, we ain't experts in anything. We are sharing testimonies. That's it, testimonials to help people get through. Now, sometimes I may have a professional, sometimes I may have some degrees, but most times they my friends too. So we just chit chatting. Up, my girl just popped in. Let me pull her up. Let me pull her up. Look at Mrs.
Oh,
Berry.
look at her, all beautiful
Look
and
at her. We could
stuff.
barely recognize her. We ain't seen her
Yes.
in a month of Sundays.
Don't do me like that.
Whatever, whatever. I'm glad to see her. Anytime my little co-host step in, because you know they got some big busy lives. My friends be
Yes.
rocking and rolling. Listen, so I respect it.
Listen.
When they hear, they hear. When they can't, they can't. But they help me in the backfield, and that's what counts the most.
Yes. Yes.
Listen, I just threw my auntie and uncle out. I was like, okay, I told y'all it's 6:45. Y'all got to go. I said, don't let me be down here talking too much.
I know that's right. Hey there, love. No, how are you, gorgeous? Well, tonight's is a very special guest. She is a blessing in so many ways. This is my dear friend to be because we just got friends. We were just friends in the
Yes.
background. We
Yes.
got backstage and we tight now. That's my boo.
That's
Okay?
right.
She my boo.
Hi.
Yes, Antoinette Carr. She has a blessing to share with you about
Yes.
her experience with breast cancer. So, Annette, go ahead. Antoinette, I'm sorry. Antoinette, go ahead and tell the people about who you are.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Antoinette Carr. I am a child of the Most High God. I am a
Okay.
wife to an amazing man named Vernon Carr. I am a mother of one child that I gave birth to, but many children that call me mama. Uh, Sister Tanya over here, she is one of my very, very, very dear friends. But I am a breast cancer survivor, and I am
Woo!
grateful to God
Yes,
that
yes.
He saw fit to bring me through. So I'm willing to answer whatever questions you have out there. But like she said, I ain't got no degree. I can tell you what I went through. I can tell you
Amen.
how I got through.
I was about to
And
say, you got some
hey,
experience.
yes, I got some real life experience over
Come
here.
on, come
Okay.
on.
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
Amen.
and live experience, direct experience is sometimes better than educational experience
yes,
because when you
Amen.
walk the walk, even from clinicians, it's a difference when they are the patient.
yes,
So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's definitely a different feel, it's a different mindset. It gives them a different outlook on how they treat, how they care for patients.
yes,
So let me tell you, it's definitely should be a degree in experience.
yes. Well, then I have a degree
I know
in
that's right.
kicking
Hey, Nisi
cancers,
Pooh.
but yes. So I want to start off by telling you that it is so vitally important that we know our own bodies. I found my lump in the
Mm,
shower 3 months after I had already had a mammogram where there was nothing there. But June, middle of June, I'm in the shower and I said, let me go and do an exam, right? And I'm like, what's that? It did not turn out to be a good thing. I had had lumps in my breast before, but I could always squeeze them. And when my doctor, she told me, oh, that's a cyst. So, but they would always check it just to make sure. This time I could not squeeze it. So it is so important that we know our own bodies because, yeah,
let's talk about that because women do have a lot of cystic breasts,
hmm,
and it's really because I was one like that. Growing up, I've always had very cystic breasts, and now
me
since I'm
too, girl.
older, now I have very dense breasts. So it's
Me too.
very interesting. So, but I've never heard the squeeze thing. So if you
Yes.
can squeeze it, what is it? Squeeze.
If you
where
can
it mush
squeeze it, it
or it
mushes. It's
okay.
if
Is
you
there any pain related to that?
no.
Oh, okay.
But for the one that I found, there was pain. It was like sitting right at
Mm,
my nipple. And so there was
okay.
pain there. And then I started feeling pain under my arm. So my breast cancer spread to my lymph nodes
Yeah.
under the armpit. So it's so important that we check our breasts. And I want, if any young women are out here, you need to understand your family's history with any
Absolutely.
kind of cancer. There is none in my family. I am the first person in my family to get breast
Mm-hmm.
cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago, they told me, you got less than 2% chance that you would ever develop breast cancer. Where we at?
Girl,
So,
say so. I am the
yeah.
family historian when it comes to cancer. And like that's why I did two segments on cancer,
Hmm.
cancer in general, as well as cancer with breast cancer, is because my family is littered with cancer.
Oh, wow.
And so we have about 10 different types of cancer. So I'm
Wow.
always getting checked to make sure, oops, sorry, to make sure that I'm okay because I'm just on a high spectrum. I get everything checked.
Yeah. And that's why I had them do genetics testing. They actually
Hmm.
offered it. And I was like, yes, please, because I was getting ready to go pay somebody to test to see if it's something changed and now I have markers for it. But
Right.
I had no genetic markers for any type of cancer in my
Hmm.
bloodline. So
Wow.
you have to understand your family background. But
Hmm.
then, like I was telling you earlier, I discovered that the reason why I got cancer was because my hormone receptors got out of whack. And I
That
didn't know I
part.
had
Okay.
hormone receptors. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know about that either. Okay.
So, yeah, they got out of whack and I was triple positive for breast cancer. So, but
Wow.
we have to start asking questions. My
And
mom shares information freely. Ask these older people about our family health
History.
history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. What was you going to
and I
say,
think
Tanya?
it's important to say, excuse me, that not just about the hormones, but that Tony is a healthy person. Like
Mhm.
she doesn't eat all kinds of crazy. She weighed about 12 pounds. And you know what I'm saying? And so when she and I were talking, hey Taisha, girl, I just saw you say hello in there. That's her baby.
That's my
Oh,
boo
okay.
boo.
But
Yes.
Yeah, I put her up earlier.
she but just to know that it was related to what was put in the healthy food she ate.
Hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like to
Hmm.
know that whether it be chemicals or whatever it is that they do to our food, that you could make all these healthy choices and there still be an issue related to what you eat. And I
Yes.
found that very interesting.
Yeah.
And in fact, that's when I decided to try this pescatarian lifestyle that I'm trying to stick to. I'm
Yeah.
trying, pray for
People
me.
be teasing
But
you with
but
food.
you know what I'm saying? And giving up the red meat
Hmm.
and things like that, and trying to even limit the chicken because of what they do to it sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to know that because I feel like many people, me being one of them, feels like if I'm making the healthy choices at the supermarket, then I sound like somebody mama for real, didn't I? At the
You do.
supermarket.
You
But
do.
just you think you making the right choices or healthy choices then, and to know that somebody else is making decisions and choices that affect my body that I didn't
Yes.
even know about or think about.
Yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yes.
So we have a question, and that is, what is triple positive? That is probably my girl Karen Archery using her husband Wayne Archery's account.
So, triple positive, there are three hormone types that they relate to breast cancer. And it's estrogen, they call it ER, progesterone, PR, and HER2. Don't ask me what that HER2 is. They explained it to me, but I long forgot that.
Hmm. Hmm.
But um, if you are, when they do the blood work on you and they come back and you have that in your body, at high rates, like my estrogen was at 99%, which is way high.
What's the
um,
normal? Do you
You
know
know what?
offhand?
That's a good question that I sent to my doctor earlier today because I knew someone was going to ask that question, and she's out of the
Let me
country,
see.
so she didn't respond to me. But I'm an overachiever, so 99%. I just had to go all out, right?
Right,
Um,
right.
Just extra
so
all the
just
time.
extra. So you can either be triple positive or triple negative, or you can be a mix of both. So yeah, but they do blood work on you to figure all that out. And I got poked and prodded a
Mhm,
whole lot,
mhm.
whole lot. Yes, but what I
So
want to go back to what
just
Tanya
I
was
just
talking
found
about.
it real quick. It
Oh, okay.
said for premenopausal women is 0 to 30.
Okay, so I'm way
Mhm.
menopausal. I'm beyond menopausal.
I
I
cannot
know,
with
but
you
that's what I'm
today.
saying. That's what, I don't know how
Yeah,
long ago
so
you had
if
cancer, but that's
yeah,
what it was
just two
saying.
years. I'm coming up on my
Oh,
2 year
okay.
cancer-free anniversary. Woo!
Praise the
Mm,
Lord.
Yes, yes. But back to what Tanya was saying about the food. The one thing that my doctors and I had an amazing team of professionals supporting me through this. They shared with me that because my cancer was tied to hormones, that I need to eat USDA organic meats. If it doesn't say USDA organic, there is no guarantee that that meat doesn't actually have hormones or antibiotics injected into it.
mm.
It has to say USDA organic. If it just says organic, you kind of just taking a chance because you just
Right.
don't know. So that was one key thing. And did you know that sugar, it kind of feeds cancer cells? So if you
Hmm.
eat a lot of sweets and you've got cancer cells building, it feeds that. The hormones
I'm
feed it.
sorry. My primary care physician also said like it's some fact in the fact that we use these sweeteners too. That the
Hmm.
sweeteners can long term can create cancer
Yes.
as well.
Yes. And so my doctor told me a specific brand of stevia to use
Hmm.
that was safe for me to use. And
Okay.
Tanya and I had that conversation a few weeks ago about the type of sweetener that we use. Um, yeah, it's it's amazing what the foods we eat that we think we're making wise decisions, and
Mhm.
the people that are creating the food for us or producing the food, they're not making wise decisions.
No,
So
they don't care about us.
no,
They
no,
don't care what the chemicals that they put in our food does to us. And
no.
they basically make food that will cause us to become addicted to it so that
Yes,
they would make more money. It's all about money. It's not even when
baby.
it comes to the pyramid, it's never
Yes.
about what's good for us. It's about
No.
how they make money.
You
Sis,
know,
my
my husband's doctor told him, which I actually love that guy. He told him, he said, I don't want to be the doctor that helps you live with diabetes. I want to be the doctor that helps you cure
wow.
get rid of your diabetes. And so we watched around the same time as Tony's diagnosis, he's talking to us about eating healthy and stuff too. And so
Mhm.
we watched on Netflix, What the Health what the show was called. And let me tell you how, yeah, I don't think we had red meat or pork or even chicken for months after that, like a
Mm,
while before we got back to it. Just in keeping in line with the conversation you were just having and knowing the things, watching that and looking at what people do to your food. And even one of the doctors, I wanted to say this, one of the doctors said, like, if you were able to do like a strictly vegetarian diet, right,
mm-hmm.
or vegan diet even, and how this is the only things that reverse what we've done to our body. Medication just helps you manage the problem that you've caused,
Mhm.
but none of it
Mhm.
is really made to cure you or to reverse
Yes.
what was done. And so he was saying how just a purely vegetarian or vegan diet is what would help to reverse these things that we've done to our bodies already. And he said, even with the organic, did you watch
Mhm.
that show, Tony?
I
He
watched
said,
part of
even
it. I
with the
didn't watch all the way
organic, you
through.
have to still be very careful
Yes.
because he said, which maybe is why they said USDA organic, because he
Mhm.
said, do you think that a place that is growing, like this is purely organic vegetation here. But if that same farm or whatever also grows items that aren't necessarily organic, he said, you think when they fly those planes over and spray the pesticides and stuff on the non-organic side, that the wind says, okay, don't blow none of that over here on the other side? So you still have to be very, very careful in the amounts of things that you eat and what's in them and where they've come from and all of that.
Yeah.
We have to be our own advocate in everything now.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And to Ms. Autry, I'm going to get that information about the stevia brand that we were told to use. I'm going to get that to Kim and make sure she gets that to you. Yes, yes, yes. So my husband spent the vast majority of his life in Germany. And so when he got back here and we went and bought some bratwurst, he was stunned to see that they have high glucose corn syrup in some doggone sausages. Why do we need sugar in meat? They do it to make you addicted to it. It's done on purpose. So it's important that we read the labels of the stuff that we buy.
Absolutely. And that, I think as a people,
baby.
I don't think we do that enough. I can say I'm guilty of it. I'm not a ingredients reader. It's funny because when I'm sharing something, I have a friend who went keto, and when I'm sharing something with her, I'll be like, oh, it has sugar and stuff in it. I can't give you this. But I don't necessarily shop for it. But when she gives me different tips on things to eat and purchase, I'll do that. So I'm like the tipper. Like you could give me a tip on something and I'll follow suit. So like with the stevia, but as far as me checking the label, I'm not the greatest at that. I know I need to do better.
I got really good at it. My husband better than me. He does most of the grocery shopping because he can cook and I can, but I don't like to. He went to all of my appointments with me. He listened to the feedback the doctors gave about changing how I eat. And looking at the labels and USDA organic this and eliminating sugar wherever possible, which was a huge concern because I'm a heavy coffee drinker and I don't have a sweet tooth, baby. I got sweet teeth. So, okay. So it was, but you know, having a cancer diagnosis, it can make you really quickly change your ways. You know, you sit up there and say, January 1st, my New Year's resolution is I'm going to do this. And 2 weeks in, girl, I got a box of cupcakes. But so it did change. It changed a lot.
Yeah,
you know, because
absolutely.
I want to live to see my grandkids get old. I want to live to travel and see the world. You know, there's a lot of things that we put off throughout life saying, oh, well, I'm going to do this here. I'm not putting off anything else. So I'm going to live my blessed life. Every day I wake up. If it's something I want to do, sister girl getting ready to do that.
I know that's right. Oops. My niece had asked the question of what's the best age to go get checked out?
So there's two answers to that. If you have a history of breast cancer or any type of cancer in your family, you need to talk to your medical professional to find out when you need to start getting checked. I would have genetics testing done. My daughter was telling me about on Amazon, you can order that 23andMe DNA testing, and it'll tell you whether or not you have the genetic markers for cancer in your bloodline. So, but your medical benefits may cover some of it as well, because my medical benefits covered me getting genetics testing. So that's what I would say, because last year, my cousin, she's a radio personality in the southern states, and she did a session with a young lady, and they were talking about a 27-year-old girl. And I'm going to say girl because I'm almost 60, so I can call a 27-year-old a girl.
Really? Go ahead.
Yes.
You're looking gorgeous.
Yes, thank you. And she died from breast cancer. 27, you ain't supposed to be dying from breast cancer.
No, man.
You're supposed to be aggravating the heck out your mama and living your blessed life. You're not supposed to be dying from breast cancer at 27, but no one taught her. She didn't know to get checked. She didn't know what questions to ask her doctor. So And what I found out, my doctor should have been having this conversation with me about my body because I was past menopause and she knew that these things could happen. Never once did she tell me. And of course, she's not my gynecologist anymore
Right,
because
right.
you could have had a conversation with me. We could have done blood work years ago to test to see if something was going
Wow.
on with my body and
Mm-hmm.
nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, Nisi Poo, I have always made my doctors very aware of the cancer that runs in my body. I'll make sure you have a list so that, I mean, in my genetics, so
Yeah.
that they are very aware because they do treat you differently and sooner. When I say
Yes.
differently, when you have a history of certain cancers. And with our family having such a wide span, including breast cancer, they tend I think I had my first mammogram when I was 35.
Yeah, I was about that age too. And it was because my beautiful daughter gave me some Valentine's Day candy that had coconuts in it. And I'm allergic to coconut. So I broke out in
Oh.
hives from here all the way down to my stomach. And I'm scratching. And I'm like, what the heck is that? Started finding them little cystic boobs. They swelled up. They were swollen because of
Mhm.
my reaction to the coconuts. And so that's when the, the nurse was so funny. She said, "You've got cystic boobies. You're too young for this." And I'm like, well,
Sister Poopy.
as long as it's just cysts and not
Right, right.
cancerous tumors, I'm okay.
Yes,
Yes.
CBiz, they do. It's about 40, 45
Yeah.
for women. Yeah.
Yeah. But
But
if you
those
have a
exams is
history
off
of
free.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a history of cancer in your family, I would demand because you're at a higher risk at that
Mhm.
point. So they
Mhm.
should be checking you sooner.
Much
Um,
sooner.
much sooner. So my daughter was very smart when I told her about my diagnosis and she calmed down. She went and did the necessary to find out if she had the markers. Because at the time I did not know that
Mhm.
mine was tied to hormones and not something genetic. So that was found out later. But
Yeah, I had was genetic. I have had two genetic tests.
uh-huh.
One was when my brother first had pancreatic cancer. I was
Hmm.
tested test, and then when it returned, they were like, "Did you want to be tested again?" And I was like, "Sure."
Yeah. Test me.
Yeah, like,
Yes.
oh, of course. Why wouldn't I? That sounds stupid that I wouldn't want it done. So
Yes.
yes, I want it done.
Yes. Please and thank you.
Right, right.
Yes.
So, yeah, it is definitely something you have to consider from a perception of what's in your family
Hmm.
bloodline, because I even do it from every aspect. Like my mother's side is more heart issues, and my father's side is more cancer. So I kind
Hmm.
of know which with everything what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, my dad's side of the family was they have heart disease on that side of the family, which was a huge concern for me because my cancer was on the left side and I had to have
Mm.
radiation treatment. So I'm like, you're gonna shoot beams of what through where? Okay. But then my doctor, he's a very funny guy. He showed me digital images of my first treatment where the breath hold method that I used, it pushed my heart further down in my chest and moved my
Mm.
chest away from, so the beams were going over instead of uh, jeopardizing my heart because
Right.
yeah. So but um it's
That's
a
so important to
scary place.
share that
It
story
is.
and information because, as scary as it is, no matter what information you receive,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
to be well informed though is the best way
Yes.
to combat that sort of anxiety and fear that sort of speaks against
Mm-hmm.
what God says and what you may even know about yourself. So just to
Right.
have some of that
Yes.
information and know that okay, it's really not, it's not wishful thinking. Yes, my
It's
faith
not.
is what I believe, but
Yes.
also it's wisdom and having that knowledge and understanding. So I think it's so important to share the story of your survival because women are so different, every single one of us.
Yes. Yes.
So no one person can tell the story that's going to touch everybody.
Yes, there are. That's my cousin Shireen. Hi, baby. Yes, there are some breast cancers that are not tied to hormones. I can't speak definitively to the types, but yeah, there definitely are some breast cancers that are not tied to hormones. But the one thing that I was told that because my cancer was hormonal, it's the easiest to treat. So they
Mm,
said if you've got to have breast cancer, they said you got the right one to go through. And there was a young lady that I shared her video on TikTok. She had to have 52 chemo treatments. I had to have 6. So the only assumption I can make, because I have another girlfriend that went through breast cancer, she had to have that many treatments as well. So they called that one the Red Devil. And I'm
mm.
grateful to God that I did not have to go through that one. So
Right, right. Bless the
yeah,
Lord. And
yes,
we pray for
yes.
those who have to go through it because it's not an easy bout for
It's
any
not.
woman. It
It's
really
not.
isn't. Especially even if you don't have cancer and then find out that you have the genetic markers. Like I've heard stories of women who would even have a mastectomy because, did I say that right?
Yep.
Mastectomy.
Okay.
Mhm.
They
Yep.
would have that because of the risk. They
Yeah.
don't want to take the chance.
I know
Yes.
some
So,
people that have
Yeah.
done it.
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and it is a choice. I know some women that actually opted to do a lumpectomy,
mhm,
but then they had to go back and they had to go back. And it was so painful because they're opening up that wound multiple times. And I'm like, nope. So I opted to have a single mastectomy
mhm.
and I went straight to implant and I had reduction on the right side. I just look for the positive in everything. I said, "Oh, I get a free boob job. Hallelujah."
Right, right,
Let me
right.
tell you, Kim, let me tell you how this nut was going around talking about something. Girl, let me tell you, this treatment that got me new, what did you say? New twins and
Hey,
my high school figure back.
hey,
Wait, I used to
yes.
have a friend. She unfortunately she passed, but she had breast cancer, and I'll never forget when she had got her replacement breast. When I tell you, she went around to all of us like, feel it. It
Hey.
feel real, don't it? Look at it. Look at the scar. It's barely a scar. Like it was just like this. And let me tell you, we were church folk. So this was happening after service in the front of the
Oh
sanctuary.
wow.
That was my girl Renee. Like, oh
Oh,
my
that's
God,
funny.
she would
Hilarious.
have us
That
cracking
is
up. Talk about
funny.
something, film a boob, film a boob.
Oh, look, I didn't go to that extreme.
Hmm.
Thank you.
But but I did walk around and my back was a little straighter
Okay.
Like,
because
look, how y'all
yeah,
doing?
hey, we here.
I cannot.
Yes. So I can compete with some of them little 20-year-olds now.
I
Hey.
know that's right. I know that's right. You can compete in all types of ways because you couldn't tell me that you was pushing 60. Not at all, ma'am.
Yes,
Not
I
at
am
all.
in 4 years, God willing, I will be 60 and retiring from work life. Yes.
Bless the Lord.
Did you
Yes.
see
Yeah.
Taisha's comment? You need to put that up there on the
What did
screen.
that child say? I do. Yes. Yes. Yes, baby. I'm still gonna always tell you that. You better hope you look this good. That means
Mm,
you living a good life.
I know that's right.
Because
I know
stress
that's
will
right.
age you in a minute.
So with them kids we got, girl,
And
because
that's a
my
good
her
point
girl and my girl.
when you
Yeah, I
talk
know.
about the stress. Tell us about how you managed it all. What was some of the things that you did just to keep your mind focused on the right path? Because you know
Yes.
that going through something like this, it's a lot of you have to be focused holistically.
Yes. So I am a child of God and I trust him with my whole entire heart. And
Hmm.
when I
Amen.
found that lump and I let my husband, I told him, I said, babe, feel that. And we both were like, And so I just bowed my head and I started praying. I said, Lord,
Right.
I don't know what this is, but whatever I have to
Jesus.
go through, I know you going before me and you going to set the path for me to be victorious. So I had to let it go. You know how we turn it over
Mhm.
to the Lord, but then we want to try to take it back out his inbox. So
Okay.
I had to be mindful, leave it there, because this ain't something that I can do in my own strength.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
after I got my official diagnosis, and I knew in my mind that I had cancer, I didn't know to what extent. And so I started telling the Lord, okay, my pastor, he always tell us, y'all better start telling the Lord what he said in the word. So I was like, Lord, you said I'm more than a conqueror. You said I'm an overcomer. You said that by your stripes, I am healed. Baby, I told him everything. He
you
said
get in that
his
strong,
word,
you said position. The Bible says,
by your stripes, I am healed. I am claiming healing in the name of the Lord.
I know that's right.
So, and then I sang. People would send me praise songs, and I had my husband took good care of me. Do you understand what I'm saying? So my support system was strong. My husband, at the time when I got diagnosed, my father was also like on his last days. My father died a few days after I got my first chemo treatment. And actually a few days after my birthday is actually when he died. So trying to deal with the pandemic, this was in 2020. I'm dealing with the pandemic. My father's in the hospital and they telling me your immune system is compromised. You can't go see him. I was like, y'all just don't know what y'all saying. I'm gonna go see my daddy. So I suited up, masked up, sanitized.
Right.
I was gonna go say bye to my daddy, right? But with my family, my niece started a prayer group. My family was praying on my behalf. So my family interceded on my behalf. My sister Tanya, my child Kiera, her whole family, my church family, my biological family. When I tell you I was covered, I was covered.
Yes, ma'am.
And they all crazy, so they kept me laughing. Laughter is healing. Find something to laugh about.
Right.
Find some joy in something, because the one thing that I'm convinced of, you heard that commercial, a body in motion stays in motion. That's true. I worked every day except for on the days when I had to have surgery. My chemo days, I took my laptop with me. I'm walking around, I'm talking to people. Hey, you want me to bring you some snacks? You have to keep yourself motivated. And the one thing that I told my niece was that I can't stand up in front of God's people and sing his praise and talk about he's a way maker, you know.
Come on now.
And Lord, I give me you. That's all I need. Give me you. And then walking around looking like I'm defeated. So my whole mindset was, I cannot walk through this thing looking like what I'm going through. And that don't mean that I didn't have some bad days.
Right.
But y'all didn't see those bad days. My husband, he saw a couple of them days, and I think I scared him a little bit. But one of his friends told me he was concerned, and he said he would encourage him to pray. So I'm grateful he's got those kind of friends.
Yes, ma'am.
But when you have good people in your corner, when you have faith in the Almighty God, and you allow that faith to work for you. You know, what's that scripture, Tanya? I pray that your faith don't fail you. I did not want my faith to fail me. I was determined that he already let me know I was going to be victorious. So what I'm going to walk around looking like boo-boo the fool for?
Right.
I had everything to live for. And that's why anybody that will listen, because mine was avoidable, had my doctor done her job. Had she checked me because I was past menopause, had she done blood work like she should have,
right.
I could have avoided this. But my goddaughter, Erica, she told me one day, because my father dying, I'm diagnosed with cancer, I got this crazy job, and I'm like, ah. And she said, did you ever consider that the Lord said, have you considered my servant Tony? Girl, I almost fell off my chair. So I said, okay, Lord, use me. You already told me I was going to be victorious. Whatever comes after that, whoever I got to tell, whoever I got to share with. And I love to talk anyway. So anybody that will listen, that wants to learn what I had to learn the hard way. And if it can prevent somebody from having to go down my path, or make you talk to your doctor sooner so that you get informed. That's what I want to do.
Right,
That's
right.
all I want to do.
And I
Amen.
think, when you have it, we all, like she said, of course you'll have your bad days, but I think, and I thank God for the friends that I have, because I think, like, it is, even if I'm scared for her, she wasn't gonna see me scared for her. You know what I
Mhm,
mean?
mhm.
When I'm
Yeah.
with her, it's like, girl, come on, we got stuff to do. Listen here. Marriage is hard work, and you and the Lord have made all these promises to me what we was gonna do after we was married, and these couples.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Now we done got married, and your crazy husband even know my phone number. What you not gonna do is leave me here with both of them.
No, you
Like
don't need both of them.
we spent a lot of time, and I honestly, that I think about it now, I don't know ever between the two of us crying together about it, but we
Mm-mm.
spent a lot of time praying and a lot of time laughing.
Yes, yes, yes.
And as much as it somewhat pains me to say this, I do thank God for her crazy husband. Don't nobody show him this video or tell him I said that.
He might be
But
watching.
oh Lord.
But you have
But
you said a mouthful when it comes to your environment and the people that you have around
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to set the tone of what you want to experience. And that's
Yes.
in everyday life, but especially when you're going through. Like
Yes.
I know when I was going through last year with so many things happening, I had a group of women that I could count on every morning to start praying for me and to
Mm-hmm.
be there with me as I walk through. And
Okay.
I know that's how I made it through. Like
Yes.
it wasn't by my own strength. The word of the Lord says when two or three are gathered together, I'm in the midst. Listen, I had
Yes.
more than two to
Yes.
three, and you rest assured the Lord was in the midst. And then when
All
it
right.
came to the point where I could not say a mumbling word, them sisters went in. Because first I was like, I'm gonna pray, I'm
Yes.
gonna pray, I'm gonna pray, I gotta pray. I just need y'all to stand with me. But then I was like, I listen, y'all.
Mm-mm.
let me tell you,
Mm-mm.
we had a call, even when we had a prayer call, and Kim's like, oh yeah, and I'm gonna say this or that, or I
Mm.
said, please, everybody gonna be on here, because somebody, you got the best intentions in the beginning, but we all, and I thought it would be overwhelming with, even for me, how many people showed up. But just, and that's what it's supposed to be about. That's
Yes.
how we
Hmm.
supposed to show up and take care of each other.
Yes.
Yeah,
When
because
you
it's
can't say it,
Absolutely.
when you
necessary.
can't say it and you can't do it, we can't let you just sit in it. We gonna
Hmm.
Right.
speak it for you. We gonna pray it for you. We gonna come pull you out the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Sometimes it has to come to that. Sometimes you have to say to your friends, I know you need a moment. Okay. Now this next time. Now I gave you a moment. Now you
Yeah,
go
it's
get
Mm-hmm.
time to
dressed and
get
do your
up.
makeup, or I'm dragging you out the house like you are.
Look.
What we doing? You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay.
Yes, indeed. My
Yes.
girlfriend, my day one, my real day one, like we've known each other since first grade. She was always swinging around, like, "What you doing?" Or if I needed to go somewhere, but I knew I didn't have the strength within myself
Right.
just to get it done. I needed someone to be with me. I would call her and she was like, "Well, what you got to do?" "I got to do this." "Oh, okay, I'll come. Do you want me to come get you or do you want to drive?" And then I'll be like, "Can you get me?" Because I just can't take it. It's just so much. But, and that's what you need. You need family and friends who
Yeah.
will gird up us beside you. I always relate it back to Moses when Aaron and his sister had to hold up his arms, for
Mm-hmm.
them to cross
Mm-hmm.
the Red Sea and to win battles and all of that. Like that's what when you especially winning the battle.
Yes.
winning the battle. You
Yes.
need someone to be on your side, both
That's
sides of
right.
you, and to hold you up. And
Yes.
sometimes you may need someone in back of you just to keep pushing you. You
Yes.
know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Yes.
Like you
Absolutely.
Yes.
barely standing on your own. They got you under your arms and just pushing you forward.
Yes. Absolutely. At
Absolutely.
our communion ceremony, every time we have communion at our church, pastor has them play "I Need You to Survive,"
Mm,
and that song, it when you listen to it, just to listen to it, it sounds really simplistic, but
right,
when you
right, right.
really listen to what the words are saying, it is so incredibly powerful, because we cannot
Absolutely.
walk this journey alone. That's why he wants us to be in unity. He wouldn't talk about unity in his words so much if he did
Mm-hmm.
not want us to be united.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's so important to have your village in your corner.
Right,
And
right.
when I tell you, it was people in my family that I know probably hadn't prayed in a minute, they were praying on my behalf.
Come on now.
They were
Listen,
praying. So if going through cancer got them to pray, it was worth it for me.
I was just about to say, perfect example of him working things out for your good.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my
Mm-hmm.
challenge might be your blessing.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. That's why it's so powerful for us to share when we're going through, because it helps others to keep moving too. If she
Mhm.
can
Mm-hmm.
do it, I
Mm-hmm.
can do it.
Yes.
If
Absolutely.
if if she's
Absolutely.
going through, I'm gonna hold her up in prayer. And y'all know I ain't prayed and I don't know how long. You know, you hear it on TV. Lord, I
Mhm.
I don't I don't know when the last time I spoke to you, but that's facts. When
Yes.
someone you love is going through,
Listen.
let
Yes.
me tell you how you will put the words together.
Yes. Lord, you
Like,
know my
You
heart.
lose all of
yeah,
that sort of ceremony, and
Yes.
that's what the Lord wants anyway, is
yeah,
the
exactly,
sincerity of it all.
Your
So, you
exactly.
authentic
know,
self.
absolutely. So whether you
Yes.
know, are the person that have everybody in the church running around screaming and shouting with you, or if all you can muster up sometime is Jesus,
Mhm,
Yes.
he know what
mhm.
that meant.
He does, because
He know
Right.
all of what
he
was
know it before
behind
we
that.
even know it.
Absolutely.
So
It's
yeah.
something I kind of shared. I've not shared, but I don't think I've ever shared it actually. But I've had an experience where I had a lump in my breast, and
Mhm.
I this was, oh God, least 20 years ago, maybe. And I'll never forget, I was cool as a cucumber. I was like, I'm not going to let this get to me. I'm going to be okay. They scheduled, like, I work at a healthcare facility. They
Mhm.
helped me schedule. Everything was everything. They needed to remove it to do a biopsy. I went away on a little vacation, came back, and everything went to crap. Everything was turned upside down as far as what I
Wow.
had intended to do. So
Right.
now I'm snapping because now my plan is falling apart. I don't want to go where you want me to go. This is my
Mhm.
insurance. Like, I don't understand. Why didn't you tell me this before? So they worked it out where I can go, but it was such an experience when they had to remove that lump, because
Yeah.
although it felt like, and the images, it seemed like it was in my breast, it was literally in my chest cavity.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
That's what
And
I'm saying about all of us are so different.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was, and like for me, like they was like, they didn't think it was cancerous. So what do you want to do? You want to leave it there? You want to remove it? And I was
Wow.
like, no, I got cancer in my family. Let's take this sucker out. Like,
Right.
we not
And
keeping
test
stuff.
it. Find
Yeah,
out what
like
it
we not
is.
keeping it. Like, what happens? You say it
Yeah.
looked like, what that mean? And
Mm-mm.
then I
Take it
learned,
out.
yeah, 2 weeks ago when I had Dr. Cohn on the line, he even made it clearer about the threshold of when cancer cells can literally be seen by any
Mm.
test.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
And by the
wow.
time that happens, you already
You
have 1
already, yes,
billion cancer cells
Jesus.
before it can be
yes.
detected.
Wow.
It's amazing how long it lives in your body undetectable.
Hmm.
Yes.
And I had to
But how
do a
fast
train.
it grows
Yes,
too.
That
yes.
too. He mentioned that
And
Yeah.
too.
that's the thing.
Eh,
It's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it's almost like it's in slow motion until it's detected, and then somebody
Yes.
hit the turbo button
And
almost.
see,
Look.
and that's what he was saying. He was like, yeah, but but what you don't already know is been growing.
Mm-hmm.
You just
Mm-hmm.
didn't know.
That's
It
what I'm
didn't just
saying.
take
Yes.
off. It's
Mm-hmm.
just doing what it always was doing until they could detect it. I was
So
like,
let me read you this. So they sent me this whole report of my breast cancer
mm-hmm,
diagnosis, and it says invasive ductal carcinoma grade 3, which when I did the research means that that is fast growing and more likely to spread, which is
mm-hmm,
how it got all the way over there to my lymph nodes. Now, keep in mind, I had a mammogram in March. I found this lump in June. It wasn't on the images in March, but I had almost a 2-inch lump in my chest by June. 3 months, it grew that fast and spread to 2 of my lymph nodes.
right. Because he had explained that because the cell in and of itself is malformation of the cell, and it starts to change and it
Mm-hmm.
grows. Any cancer cell grows. It's just the
Yeah.
speed of the growth. Like we have like prostate cancer for men, it doesn't grow that fast. So there are some
Mm-hmm.
cancers that don't grow fast, but like you mentioned, yours does. So when it's growing, it actually causes the other cells to stop functioning the way it should. And our
Yeah.
typical cells are created to stay in one spot. Cancer cells, for whatever reason, when they create, they move. They don't
Yeah.
have to stay in one area. They will migrate to any area. They will go to any organ. They will get into
Mm-mm-mm.
your
Just rude
bloodstream
and invasive.
and just
Look,
inconsiderate,
they are
just moving stuff out the
busybodies.
way, shutting crap down.
They some busybodies. They need to
Just
Yeah,
stop.
all
like
in
mind your
everybody
business.
else's business. Just
But
all
Yeah.
over
look,
messing with stuff.
just all
So
up
it's
in
it's like
everybody's
I'm
business.
not surprised based off of what he shared because it was just so mind blowing. And they were like sometimes when people so you're in if you had cancer and they either got it all from what they can tell or maybe left a little bit, you still may drop below the threshold of that 1 billion. But typically when people have a quick reoccurrence, it was just under the
Mm-hmm.
billion.
Yeah.
And then
When
if
I
it goes
was,
all the way down, which you can't really
you
tell,
can't tell.
yeah,
Yeah.
then it's really cured.
You have to do pathology tests to see
Mhm.
that. So, like when I had my mastectomy, they took an additional lymph node just to test to make sure, and then they
Right.
took my whole boobie. And before they would do my implant, the pathologist had to test all the tissue. And my radiology oncologist was on an interview with me on Channel 7, and he said that the way that my body accepted the treatment by the time I had the surgery and they did the test, there was no cancer left in any of those tissues. And that if this kind of treatment continues, radiation treatment could become a non factor when
Mhm.
that is the result of your body accepting a treatment, which I
Right.
wish they would have already been at that point. Because when I tell you radiation treatment sucks, I mean, it didn't hurt,
Yeah.
but it looked like I had a really funky tan. And then when it starts peeling, ugh, it's
Yeah.
ugly.
Yeah, my brother went through that.
It's
And it's
horrible.
it's just really it's just cancer is actually it's just mind blowing. It's interesting in the sense of what it does, how it does it. It
Hmm.
like he was drawing me into just the facts of it and like how why I never really understood the concept of the regular follow-up visits. And
Yes.
those are because although you don't see any cancer right now, you don't know because we don't
Hmm.
have anything that will detect it until it reaches that point.
That
And
threshold.
then
Yep.
yeah, and then the other thing, it was something else he was telling me that I felt was so just incredible, but it just lost my head. But y'all can go back and see that episode. It's
Yes.
on there. You can check that episode out about the fears of cancer. And it's
Yeah.
just so much good between this one and last time. It was so much good information especially how Tony, I hear you said they call
Yes.
you, um, that just being so aware, like the education you did to
Hmm.
educate yourself.
Hmm.
Talk about that a little bit.
So I'm a research junkie by nature. I like information. I've watched other people go through severe circumstances with their health and not get the right kind of information from their doctors to give them a comfort level that yes, this is the right kind of treatment for me. And I wanted to be able to challenge my doctors, to be honest. I wanted to be able
Mm.
to challenge and say, well, this is what I read on John Hopkins website. So is this in alignment with that? But the team that I had, they filled me with information and they encouraged me to go out and learn more on my own. I do recommend that you don't go to WebMD,
Please.
because that's like Wikipedia. You got people
Right.
like me out there updating information. So go to a reputable website to get the information. Johns Hopkins, the Mayo Clinic, American Cancer
Hmm.
Society, Beaumont Hospital. Go to a reputable hospital site and get the information you need. But so a lot of you may not know, but my first time being published as an author was in a medical journal. Because of the research that I did, my radiology oncologist pulled me into some conversations with the heads of radiology from several different hospitals to talk about the effects of proton treatments for breast cancer. So I provided them my feedback based on a patient's perspective and was the only non-medical person that provided information for that white paper. So I was very excited
Mm.
that that was my first opportunity to be published.
What
But
an honor.
yeah, knowledge is power. I
Yes, it
mean,
is.
it's been said for years and years and years, but it's the truth. You have to arm yourself with the information to make the best
Absolutely.
decisions for yourself. The Bible tells us to study to show ourselves approved.
Come on
We
now.
have to study.
Right,
So
right.
because not every doctor, I have four physicians: my oncologist, radiation oncologist, my plastic surgeon, and then the surgeon that did my mastectomy. And they all talked to each other about my situation. They were in agreement about my situation. And the thing that just gives me chills every time I think about it, they were all spiritual beings. They knew
Mm.
the Father, they trusted the Father. When they came up to check on me after my mastectomy, they said, "You should have saw how we rejoiced in the surgical room when
Come
the
on
pathologist
now.
called and said that there were no signs of cancer in any of the tissues." And I said,
Amen.
"Hallelujah, y'all knew to rejoice." Okay.
Right,
Okay.
right, right,
Okay,
So
that
right.
part.
yes.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
knowledge is power. You have to arm yourself with knowledge. And that goes back to breast exams. You see your doctor maybe once a year. You need to be checking your boobs at least once a month.
Right.
So you should know, you have to know you're normal. So
Absolutely.
there are images out there that show you how to do a self-exam in the laying down position, in the shower, standing up in front of a mirror, but you need to learn what's different about your body. So when I felt that lump, I was like, you wasn't there before. Where you come from? You have to know your body and be able to tell your physician what's not normal. This wasn't here
Mhm,
before. If
mhm.
you feel pains, don't be shy. We have a
Oh,
tendency
yes.
not to
Yes.
say stuff. When you go to the doctor and they give you that little clipboard with all them daggone pages on there to fill it out.
Yes.
It's
It's so
important.
important.
Right,
It
Tell
right.
me,
matters.
you know,
And to know your history, because you can't fill it
Yes.
out unless you know your
Lets you
history.
know your
and
history.
you
And you
know
need to
that
keep track of your own medical concerns, your
Yes.
medications, you should have it. Like, one thing I love about the Apple phone is that it has a health app. And
Yes.
all that information you can put in your health app.
Yep.
That's where I go to find stuff. And most importantly, I pray that if something happens
Yes.
to me and I'm unconscious, that they know how to get in it, because it's very
Yes.
simple, so that they can get every little piece of information
Every
about me.
piece.
I keep
Absolutely.
everything updated. I update it with my recent tests. So anything they want to know, when's the last time was she tested for this? You have
Mm-hmm.
it.
There you
So
go.
you have
and
to
it's
know
if
it.
you think about like I always, and I say this to my husband a lot because how important it is for you to share everything related to your health, your diet, your exercise, whatever it is with your doctor, specifically even your primary doctor,
Mm-hmm.
because you need to have one central place in this world where everything can be transmitted here and there. It doesn't always get done effectively, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
somebody needs to have the truth box. You know what I'm
Right.
Yes.
saying? Here is the everything that you need to know. And I always think about, and that's the example I use with my husband, is I always think about that TV show House. And you ever watch that, and how he would
Yes.
talk to the patients and
Yes.
get them to talk and say certain things that would click something in
Mhm.
his head that would tell you now what the real problem is, what the root
Right.
of is of whatever's going on with you. And if if you well, this medicine, it make me a little loopy, so I know they want me
Mm-hmm.
to take it twice a day, but I'm gonna just take it once a day. But then you start seeing results. Now your physician is under the impression that
Right.
twice a day dose is what's doing this. And maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's not. Maybe it's
Right.
something else. So we have to be really, really diligent about sharing those facts and those
Right.
things with our physician
Mm-hmm.
when we're going through things, or
Right.
whatever it is that's happening with us. Oh, did you tell your doctor this or that? Maybe to us it was just a headache, but maybe that headache, along with the 4 or 5 things that
Yes.
doctor knows about you, means something totally different to that
Yes.
person. So it's
Let me tell you
important to
something
share
about
that.
that with my primary care physician, my old physician. Because I've had some things happen to me from some poor experiences with doctors that didn't take things serious, that then developed to something else.
Wow.
So for me, like that's when I first got rid of HMOs, because I needed to have a PPO for myself. So I
Yes.
go where I want to go, when I want to go, when I think it's something wrong.
Yes.
And I'm not recommending you all do this, but like I manage my health. When I know something's wrong with me, I
Mm-hmm.
go to the specialist in that
Mm-hmm.
field to tell me what's what. And then
Absolutely.
I make sure that anything, like when I go to an appointment, like at one point, the information wasn't getting to my doctor. So I would go with my papers. Did you receive this? Oh, here you go. This is your copy.
Yes.
And she was be like, "What am I, your hub?" I was like, "Yes, you're my one shot deal. So all I have to say is Dr. Witt, and everything is there. Everything from every doctor." And I make sure that they have
Absolutely.
that information. Like you have to, because in this day and age, especially, doctors are, it's they calling it the great retirement, where so many clinical
Mm-hmm.
people are retiring. So you may change doctors. So you need to make sure that you update your primary care physician at
Mm-hmm.
any other doctor's office that you go to, so that
Yes.
they can get a copy of the report.
Yes.
And that's the one
Absolutely.
thing. If I can't remember any other provider's name, address, phone number, and information, I remember that one. So every other doctor I go to, when I fill out my little HIPAA form, I always put my primary care
Yep.
doctor on there. And for them to,
Hmm.
I don't care if I had a hangnail or something. And whoever I went to that was not my doctor, I
Doctors, yeah.
signed for you to send them the records from my visit.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, all of this information, especially your experience, Tony, is such a blessing. I know women are being encouraged seeing you and hearing you talk about your experience and how
Glory to
God brought
God.
you through. Yes, like
Yes.
it is power in the Word of God. There is power and healing in His
Yes.
Word, and knowing that
Absolutely.
you camped yourself and made sure that you had a spiritual base, so that the
Yes.
Lord God would minister to you throughout your walk through
Yes, he
that
did.
challenge. And He brung
Yes.
you out victoriously
Yeah,
in
yeah.
so many
Yes.
ways. Like, come on,
Yes.
you my first? You my first girlfriend that wrote in the
Hey, in a
okay?
medical journal. Woo!
That's how much He blessed
Yes.
you. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And that's
Amen.
vital for anyone. You have to know what's going on with your health.
With your health.
You can't trust
Know your
doctors.
body.
You can't trust
Save
the
the
doctor.
tatas. You gotta save the
Save them.
tatas.
Save them. Do
Yes.
what you
And
need
you
to
know, I
do.
think you absolutely have to know your body and trust your instinct.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that any doctor, none of them are God and know the final story, right? But
Hmm.
I do believe that if there is something that you feel is wrong and they're not listening to you, talk to somebody else.
Talk to
But
somebody
you
else.
do need somebody
Mm-hmm.
to be able to help you figure out how to fix or repair or manage or whatever it is what's going
Hmm.
on with you. So make sure that even if you, okay, well, this, they said this, well, no, if you got doubt like that and it doesn't feel quite right, tell
Yeah.
somebody else.
And you're still
Yeah.
struggling. If you're
You're
still
Because
still
having
a
a problem, they're
struggling.
doctor
not
who
treating you right.
is truly concerned about your well-being will welcome any second, third, fourth, or fifth opinion you get. Whatever it's
Yes.
going to take for you to come on and get back in here or go there and get treated,
Yes.
let's get it done. That's the doctor you want. So you keep
Yes.
doing it and trusting when your body is talking to you and saying something is not right. Don't
Yep.
silence that.
Mm-mm,
Second,
not at
third,
all.
fourth opinions. You have
Whatever
Yes,
to
you need to
yes.
advocate
do.
for yourself.
Right.
You
And
Absolutely.
have
that
to.
even goes for if you're not comfortable with
Absolutely.
whatever the treatment plan is.
Yeah.
I tell patients, I'm a patient advocate, and I tell patients all the time, it's your right to get treatment from anyone you so desire.
Yes.
Wherever you want to go, within the network, outside of the network, you have the right, you control your medical health,
Yeah.
as well as you should have a family member who's your advocate, who knows
Mm-hmm.
everything about you. I'm a strong advocate for having medical power of attorneys, because when
Absolutely.
you are feeling your worst, you can't
You
comprehend
can't
everything
comprehend.
that's being
Yep.
said to you.
And when you are being rushed to an emergency facility is not the
That's
Yes.
the
time to get
time.
that
That's
done.
not the
So
Yeah.
time.
it there's nothing
Not the
wrong with,
time.
people will say, well, don't speak that negativity or don't talk that up. Let me explain something to
That's
you. That's
wisdom.
wisdom. That is absolutely wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, whoever it is that knows what your wishes would be. My thing has always been, if I'm conscious and I'm fine and awake and I'm alert, you don't have to stay at the hospital. But don't
Yeah.
leave me there
Yeah.
by myself when I'm unconscious and I don't know what they're doing to me.
Right.
Right.
Somebody be
Right.
in
Right.
here
Right.
paying attention.
Right.
Right.
Because I mean, I
Absolutely.
know, for most states, your legal next of kin breaks down to, if you're an adult, it's your spouse, or if you're a child, it's your parents. From there, from the adult is spouse, adult children, parents, siblings, at least for Pennsylvania, and then it can reach out to other family members. However, sometimes that next of kin is not the appropriate person to make
Yes.
decisions, because they're going to be
Yes.
overwhelmed. So you need
Absolutely.
to have a power of attorney,
Yep.
and you need to have that conversation so that they know. And the best thing about power of attorneys is that it lists out what you
What
want.
you, yes.
Absolutely.
There's so much information that you can free text in there.
And
So
you
I
know what? You don't
always
have to be a lawyer, a doctor, or
no,
none of that.
Nope.
That's
no.
another point to
Heck, if
make.
you want
Yep.
the
You
form, I
can
can
go to
send it to you.
rocketlawyer.com
That's where
and
I got it.
download your own medical
Yep.
power of attorney that asks you all the right questions and things, where you put in the appropriate names and information that you want and have that printed, and you get it
Is
signed and
that a free
notarized.
Notarized.
service?
Yep.
Is that a
they
free
have
service?
they have free, certain things that are free, like you get a free service if you want to create a medical power of attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've created it and saved it, you can, they give it to you as a PDF. You can put whatever you want in it, and you've
Mm-hmm.
printed it out. You can still save it and store it there. I think after so long, to go back and edit it or house it and then
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
edit that is a charge. But you
Yeah.
absolutely can go and fill it all out, get it printed, and so that you have that legal document to take and have. And that's the thing. Sometimes I think people think, if I'm just doing it at home, that doesn't make it legal. The signatures and the
Notarized.
notary make it legal.
And that depends with a strictly medical power of attorney. It depends on your state. So the state of Pennsylvania, you don't need it notarized. You just need two signatures for witnessing that they
Yes.
witnessed you sign it. So it depends on your state.
Yes. And
Mm-hmm.
in Michigan, you have to have the witnesses, the signatures, and a notary.
Okay.
It has to be notarized.
So it like you
Good
need to know your
information.
state. Yeah, you need to know your
Yeah.
state and what your state requires. You can also typically medical power of attorneys, you can look on your local Department of Health
Mm-hmm.
websites. They are
Yes.
listed there. The ones that gets a little tricky if you need a financial one or if you're trying to do a will, that gets a little
And
trickier.
you can also, I learned this with my husband's sister being sick, and we did this with her when she went in the hospital. We had I found, that's why I knew about the rocketlawyer.com, but we found that you can separate the two, like what Kim was just
Right.
saying. So
Mm-hmm.
you can
Hmm.
say, I could say, you know what, my husband will be overwhelmed. So he has all the financial power of attorney, but
Hmm.
my daughter or my cousin or my sister or whomever is going to do my medical power of attorney.
Okay.
And
Correct.
you can separate the two and still be able to outline your exact wishes and everything. And
Yeah.
that is so important to do that.
And I
And
always
it's
recommend notary
responsible to do
regardless of
that.
the yeah, regardless of the state, you want to get it notarized because if you cross states, that can be an issue.
Yes,
And then the
that can be
lack
an
of
issue.
knowledge in Pennsylvania that it doesn't need to be notarized can cause a little friction as
Yeah.
well.
And
So,
I just think
to
it's a
be safe.
responsible thing to do when you are incapacitated and unable to make decisions for
Absolutely.
Yeah.
yourself. It is really unfair to
To put
leave
it
the
on your
burden of
family.
those decisions on your loved ones who have
Yes.
not been given any direction or point of
Yeah.
Yep.
reference.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. 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 So that's all good. Well,
Knowledge
Tony,
is
I want to
power.
close
Yes,
out on
ma'am.
you. Is there any final words you want to tell the people how they can connect with you? Do what you do, boo.
So you can find me on social media. I am a Facebook junkie. I love telling my story. I love encouraging people. I love talking to people. So I have a surviving breast cancer group on Facebook. Pop in, join up, share your story, ask questions. We're going to be doing a lot of things in that. I just kicked that off this month as a part of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
But the thing that I want to share most is that I want you guys to be healthy. I want you to be prosperous. I want for you what God has for you.
Yes,
And in order
ma'am.
for us
Yes,
to do
ma'am.
that, we have to walk in the purpose that He's given to us. So know your purpose. Um, know your heart, know your health, know your family history. Talk to your doctors. And this is the thing, you're gonna think I'm cursing, but I'm not. Be an ask hole. Ask questions.
I can't with you.
Ask
All
questions.
questions.
Ask whole questions. Yes, be an ask
Okay.
whole. So yeah, a young lady told me that at a leadership clinic I went to, and I was like, baby, I'm stealing that.
I
Be
know
an
that's
ask
right.
whole.
Okay.
If you are not comfortable, ask the questions until you get the answer that gives you peace.
Absolutely.
Because when you get peace, that's
Absolutely.
God's confirmation
Come
that
on
that's the
now.
direction. So
Right.
until you're
Absolutely.
Right.
satisfied, ask questions. Ask the
Yes.
whole question. And I
Hmm.
just pray that God's blessings be upon all of you and that you walk in your purpose and you lived your absolute blessed life because that's what I'm going to
I
do.
know it's right, girl. I
Yes! Yes!
Well, thank you again for coming and sharing your story and the wealth of your personal experience going through the
Yes.
battle yourself and coming out victorious. I bless
Yes.
God for you, and I see so much more coming your way, just
Glory to
as
God.
being an advocate for those that don't know and your startup of your group, breast cancer survivors. I'm sure that's going to be such a blessing for so many women
Yes.
around the
Yes.
world. So I look forward to
Yes.
hearing great things about you. Listen, this is Let's Just Talk with Kim. We are here every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let me tell you, make sure you be back in next week.